have some breaking news for you. A sentencing just wrapped up for the former sheriff's deputy convicted of killing a woman in her Springfield, Illinois home after she called 911 for help. Sean Grayson, he was convicted of second-degree murder last October for the 2024 shooting of Sonya Massey.
July 6, 2024. 1:42 a.m. Sonya Massey stands in her own kitchen, holding a pot of water she was ordered to move. Deputy Sean Grayson's gun is pointed at her face. In 62 seconds, she'll be dead, shot 3 times by the officer she called for help. The body camera is recording everything. And what it captures will prove this wasn't an accident, a mistake, or self-defense. This was murder. Sonya Massey was 36 years old. A mother of 2, Malachi and Summer. She stood 5 feet 3 inches, weighed 112 pounds, and had worked as a home health aide until lupus forced her into medical retirement at just 32. She was deeply spiritual, fiercely protective of others, the kind of person who'd get angry if someone laughed at a kid who fell down. Her family knew her as a woman of faith who lived by her principles and stood up for the vulnerable. But Sonya's story is inseparable from her family's history, a history of violence that stretches back more than a century. On August 15, 1908, Springfield, Illinois, William K. Donegan, Sonya's great-great-grandfather, was 84 years old when a white mob dragged him from his home during the Springfield race riot. They slit his throat. They hanged him from a tree. He died hours later at St. John's Hospital. His crime? Being a successful black man married to a white woman in a city consumed by racial hatred. Donegan was a cobbler who'd made shoes for Abraham Lincoln himself. He was respected, established, a pillar of Springfield's small black community. None of it mattered. The mob wanted blood. 116 years later, his descendant would die in the same city, at the same hospital, killed by a white law enforcement officer. History doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes with devastating precision. By July 2024, Sonya was struggling. She'd just left a 30-day inpatient mental health program after only 2 days, unable to cope with the structure. Her children had moved in with their father temporarily while she stabilized. On July 5, 1 day before she died, her mother called 911 to report that Sonya was having a breakdown. But critically, Donna Massey told the dispatcher, "She's not a danger to herself. She's not a danger to me." Sonya needed help. She needed compassion. She needed someone who understood that mental health crises require care, not commands. When Sonya called 911 at 1:20 a.m. on July 6, terrified of a prowler outside her home, she had no idea that the real danger was about to arrive wearing a badge. She had no idea that her family's legacy of violence, stretching back to 1908, was about to claim another generation. Sean Grayson had worked at 6 different law enforcement agencies in 4 years. 6 agencies. 4 years. That fact alone should have disqualified him from ever carrying a badge again. But on July 6, 2024, he was still a deputy with the Sangamon County Sheriff's Office, still armed, still responding to 911 calls. And his personnel file read like a horror story no one bothered to finish reading. Sean Grayson's personnel file reads like a horror story that 6 different agencies refused to finish reading. In 2016, the Army discharged him for misconduct, serious offense. Details classified, but severe enough to end his military career. He'd already picked up his first DUI in 2015 while enlisted. A second DUI conviction followed in 2016, costing him his driving privileges for a year. 2 drunk driving convictions. Military discharge for serious misconduct. Most departments would consider this disqualifying. Sangamon County Sheriff Jack Campbell later admitted, DUIs are not disqualifying criteria. But the DUIs were just the beginning. In 2020 to 2024, 6 agencies in 4 years. Let that sink in. 6 different law enforcement agencies hired, then lost, Sean Grayson in just 4 years. Each time he moved on, the next department remained in the dark about why he left. In 2021, Kincaid Police Department, Grayson fabricates an entire criminal case. He pulls over Kyle Adkins, claims there's a warrant for his arrest, recommends felony drug charges. None of it is true. Body camera footage later shows Grayson admitting to his chief that he had no evidence. "I don't have anything on him," he confesses on tape. The case drags on for 2 years before being dropped. For fabricating evidence and lying under oath, Grayson should have been decertified permanently, his law enforcement career terminated across the entire state. Instead, Kincaid never reported him to the state database. No other agency was ever warned. In 2022, Logan County Sheriff's Office, Grayson refuses direct orders to terminate a high-speed chase. He hits 110 miles per hour on public roads, turns off his lights and siren to avoid detection, and only stops when he slams into a deer. 2 citizens file formal complaints against him. Officials meet with Grayson, discuss termination, then ultimately absolve him of wrongdoing. They never report any of it to the Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board, the state database designed specifically to track problem officers. The system had multiple opportunities to stop Sean Grayson. Instead, it kept handing him a badge and a gun. By July 2024, he'd worked at Auburn Police, Pawnee Police, Kincaid Police, Verdun Police, Logan County Sheriff's Office, and finally Sangamon County Sheriff's Office, each transition erasing his history, each new department betting they could manage what the last one couldn't. Legal experts reviewing his file later confirmed, the fabricated arrest alone should have stripped Grayson of his certification permanently under Illinois law. The high-speed chase should have triggered mandatory reporting. The citizen complaints should have been logged in the state system. None of it happened. And on July 6, 2024, Sean Grayson, Army reject, 2-time DUI offender, evidence fabricator, reckless driver, subject of multiple citizen complaints, was still armed, still on patrol, still responding to 911 calls. Still dangerous. July 4th, a 911 call from Sonya's home. Somebody's trying to hurt me. The caller hangs up. July 5th, Sonya's mother calls 911, worried about her daughter's mental state. She's not a danger to herself, not a danger to me, Donna tells dispatch. The warnings were logged. The mental health crisis was documented. What Sonya needed was help. What she got was Sean Grayson. 1:20 a.m. Sonya calls 911. She's terrified someone's trying to break in. Deputies Grayson and Farley arrive. They search the property. No prowler. No signs of forced entry. Nothing. They approach her door. After 3 minutes of knocking, Sonya opens it. She's confused, scared. Please, God, don't hurt me, she keeps saying. The deputies tell her they found nothing. The call should be over. But Grayson spots a black SUV in her driveway and asks about it. Farley walks around the house to check the plates. Then, at 1:40 a.m., Grayson makes a decision that seals Sonya's fate. He enters her home. Inside the house, Grayson asks for her ID, and Sonya begins searching for it, moving through her kitchen with the nervous energy of someone who knows she's being watched. Then Grayson notices a pot on the stove, steam rising from boiling water, and tells his partner, move it away from the heat. But Sonya jumps up to get it herself, perhaps not wanting strangers touching her things, perhaps just acting on instinct in her own home. She removes the pot from the burner and pours some water into the sink. Standing at her counter, pot still in hand, she says something so quiet it almost doesn't register on the body camera audio. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. It's a prayer. A spiritual protection. The kind of thing a deeply religious woman says when she feels evil in her presence. Grayson hears it as a threat. You better fucking not or I swear to God I'll fucking shoot you right in your fucking face. Both deputies draw their weapons. I'm sorry. Sonya drops behind the counter, covering her face with an oven mitt. I'm sorry. 3 gunshots. The first bullet enters beneath Sonya's left eye. The angle is downward. She's ducking, cowering, trying to protect herself. 1:42 a.m. Sonya Massey dies in her kitchen, killed by the deputy she called for help. The body camera captured everything. Deputy Farley immediately tries to help Sonya, reaching for his medical kit even as blood pools on the kitchen floor. She's done, Grayson says flatly. That's a headshot. But Farley ignores him, pressing dish towels to Sonya's wound with the desperate urgency of someone who still believes in saving lives. When Grayson finally asks if he can help, a question that comes too late and sounds too hollow, Farley tells him no. Grayson's response is caught on camera. I'm not even gonna waste my med stuff then. He throws his medical kit on the floor like discarded trash. In that moment, the body camera captures something more damning than the shooting itself. It captures a man who's already decided his victim doesn't deserve to be saved. Minutes later, Sonya is pronounced dead at St. John's Hospital, the same hospital where William Donegan died in 1908. The initial radio traffic reports the shooting as self-inflicted. Sonya's family doesn't learn she was killed by police until they see it on the news. But Grayson made a critical mistake. He forgot about Deputy Farley's body camera. The footage shows everything. Sonya saying don't hurt me from the moment she opened her door. Grayson ordering the pot moved. Sonya complying, saying I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Grayson screaming threats. Sonya apologizing, ducking, covering her face. 3 gunshots fired downward at a cowering woman. After the shooting, Grayson walks outside. Another deputy mentions rendering aid. Grayson's response, caught on camera, "This fucking bitch is crazy." The autopsy confirms what the video shows. Bullet trajectory, downward. Entry wound, beneath her left eye. She was ducking when he fired. This wasn't self-defense. This was execution. The Sangamon County Sheriff's Office opens an investigation, immediately hands it to Illinois State Police. For days, the official story is vague. The initial report, self-inflicted gunshot wound. Then investigators watch Farley's body camera footage. 10 days. That's how long it takes. Illinois State Police conclusion. Grayson was not justified in his use of deadly force. July 17, 2024, 11 days after Sonya's death, a grand jury indicts Sean Grayson on 3 counts of first-degree murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, and official misconduct. He's fired the same day. Deputy Farley, whose camera captured the truth, is placed on administrative leave. The community demands answers. The nation watches the footage in horror. But one question haunts every viewer: how was this man ever given a badge? On Farley's body camera, Grayson's own words doom him. Immediately after killing Sonya, before anyone accuses him of anything, he starts building his defense. "She threatened to throw boiling water on me." But the footage shows Sonya apologizing, ducking, covering her face. It shows Grayson calling her "this fucking bitch." It shows him refusing to render aid, throwing down his medical kit. Consciousness of guilt, captured in 4K. The autopsy released July 26 confirms, downward bullet trajectory. She was ducking when Grayson fired. The bullet entered beneath her left eye, exited the back of her neck. Skull fracture, pierced carotid artery, massive brain bleeding. On July 22, prosecutors released the body camera footage to the public. The nation watches. The outrage is immediate. October 2025. Peoria County Courthouse. The prosecution's case seems airtight. Watch the video. But murder convictions require proving state of mind, and Grayson's defense team has a strategy. They don't dispute he killed Sonya Massey. They argue he reasonably believed his life was in danger. When opening statements, the prosecution plays the body camera footage in its entirety. Jurors watch Sonya open her door. "Please, God, don't hurt me." They watch Grayson order the pot moved. They watch Sonya comply, then quietly say, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." They watch Grayson explode. "You better fucking not, or I swear to God I'll fucking shoot you right in your fucking face." They watch Sonya apologize, duck for cover. 3 gunshots. But the defense attorney delivers a compelling opening. Deputy Grayson responded to a mental health crisis at 1:40 in the morning. The caller had reported someone trying to break into her home. When he arrived, Sonya Massey was erratic, confused, repeatedly saying "don't hurt me" when no one was threatening her. She jumped up suddenly to grab a pot of boiling water. And when she said "I rebuke you," Deputy Grayson, in a split second, believed she was about to attack him with scalding water. He made a terrible mistake. But murder requires intent to kill without justification. This was a tragic error in judgment, not murder. Deputy Farley testifies first for the prosecution. He describes Grayson's rage, his refusal to render aid, his indifference to Sonya's life. But under cross-examination, the defense gets him to admit, "I also drew my weapon when she said 'I rebuke you.'" That admission gives the defense oxygen. Sonya's family testifies, her mother, her children, her cousin. Their grief is palpable, but the defense doesn't challenge their testimony. They are not disputing Sonya's death was a tragedy. Then the prosecution calls their use of force expert, a 30-year law enforcement veteran who trains officers in de-escalation. He walks the jury through the footage frame by frame. At no point does Ms. Massey advance toward the officers. At no point does she raise the pot. At no point does she make a threatening gesture. She is standing at her own kitchen counter, several feet away, behind a barrier. When Deputy Grayson threatens to shoot her in the face, she immediately apologizes and ducks for cover. The downward bullet trajectory proves she was cowering when he fired. But the defense expert, a former Chicago police commander, counters. Boiling water can cause third-degree burns in seconds. Officers are trained to neutralize threats before they materialize. Deputy Grayson gave a verbal command. When Ms. Massey responded with what he perceived as a threat, he had fractions of a second to decide. I'm not saying he made the right decision. I'm saying it was a decision made under extreme pressure, not a decision to commit murder. The jury looks uncertain. Then Grayson takes the stand. He claims he didn't know what rebuke meant, but thought it sounded like a threat. He claims he feared Sonya would throw boiling water on him. He claims he froze in fear. The prosecution destroys him on cross-examination. You ordered her to move the pot, didn't you? Yes. So you created the situation where she was holding it. I asked my partner to move it. She jumped up. She was behind a counter, several feet away, wasn't she? Yes. She immediately apologized when you threatened her, didn't she? Yes. She said I'm sorry twice, didn't she? Yes. She ducked for cover, didn't she? Yes. And you shot her while she was cowering. Silence. Deputy Grayson, you shot Sonya Massey while she was cowering and apologizing, didn't you? I thought she was going to throw the water. You thought a woman ducking for cover and apologizing was going to throw water at you. No answer. But the defense has one more card to play. In closing arguments, they focus on second-degree murder versus first-degree murder. The prosecution charged Deputy Grayson with first-degree murder, intentional killing without justification. But even if you believe he was wrong, even if you believe he overreacted, that doesn't make this first-degree murder. At most, this is second-degree murder, an intentional killing that was provoked, even if unreasonably. He didn't plan to kill Sonya Massey. He reacted in a moment of fear, irrational fear, perhaps, but fear nonetheless. The jury deliberates for 11 hours across 2 days. Courtroom observers are nervous. 11 hours suggests disagreement. Some jurors believe Grayson. Some believe he's lying. The weight is agonizing for Sonya's family. Finally, the verdict. Guilty of second-degree murder. Guilty of aggravated battery with a firearm. Guilty of official misconduct. Not first-degree murder. The jury accepted that Grayson felt provoked, even if unreasonably and irrationally. But still, murder. Sonya's family weeps. Grayson stays straight ahead, expressionless. The conviction is a partial victory. Murder, yes, but not the premeditated killing the prosecution sought. The sentence will reflect that distinction. January 30th, 2026. Superior County Courthouse. Sentencing day. Sonya's family fills the courtroom wearing purple, her favorite color, the color of royalty, the color of mourning transformed into defiance. Malachi takes the stand first, his voice breaking as he talks about missing his mother's cooking, her boundless energy, the way she loved without condition or reservation. His 16-year-old sister testifies next, tears streaming down her face as she describes a hole in their lives that will never be filled. Then Donna Massey approaches the bench. She tells the court she's now afraid to call police. Before stepping down, she looks directly at Grayson. Sean Grayson, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. The same words Sonya spoke before he killed her. Grayson, wearing a jail jumpsuit, fights back tears. I wish I could bring her back. I made a lot of mistakes that night. I froze and made terrible decisions. I'm sorry. His own words undermine his defense. If Sonya was truly an imminent deadly threat, why did he freeze? Why terrible decisions instead of, I defended my life? His attorney pleads for 6 years, citing Grayson's stage 4 cancer diagnosis. At one point, the lawyer turns from the judge and stares directly at the Massey family while arguing. The prosecutor objects. The judge rebukes him, address the court, not the gallery. Judge Cadogan reviews the evidence. He notes Grayson's outburst of rage against Sonya's kindness. She'd even told the officers love y'all before he shot her. You said you were going to shoot her in the face, the judge states directly to Grayson. And then you did. 20 years for second-degree murder. Additional years for battery and misconduct, served concurrently. With good behavior, 8.5 years. Donna Massey's reaction, we did it. But others note Sonya got life and death while Grayson might serve less than a decade. His attorneys immediately file appeals. Legal experts give them no chance. The body camera footage is irrefutable. Sheriff Jack Campbell retires in disgrace, August 2024. February 2025, Sonya's family settles their wrongful death lawsuit for $10 million. But the most important change is legislative. May 2025, Illinois passes House Bill 1953, Sonya Massey's bill. The law requires comprehensive background checks for all law enforcement hires, past employment reviews, disciplinary records, use of force history, psychological exams, misconduct violations. Effective 2026. Designed specifically to prevent another Sean Grayson from bouncing between departments. The Department of Justice investigates the Sangamon County Sheriff's Office for discrimination. The county agrees to enhanced de-escalation training and better use of force tracking. Annual vigils honor Sonya's memory. Her family continues advocating for mental health crisis training and police accountability. Her cousin Sun Tai. Anything we set our minds to change, we will absolutely try to change. We've still got a long road ahead of us. How does an officer with 2 DUIs, a military discharge for misconduct, a fabricated arrest, and multiple citizen complaints work at 6 agencies in 4 years? How does Logan County consider firing him, then absolve him and never report it? How does Kincaid have footage of him admitting he fabricated evidence, yet never revoke his certification? How does Sangamon County hire him knowing about his DUIs and deem them not disqualifying? The Illinois Safety Act requires agencies to report misconduct when officers are terminated or resign under investigation. It didn't work. The honor system failed. And somewhere right now, another deputy with Grayson's history is working, armed, responding to calls, waiting to snap. Somewhere right now, a woman in crisis is calling 911 for help. Whether she gets compassion or bullets depends on whether the system learned anything from Sonya Massey. Sonya should be 38 today. Celebrating with Malachi and Summer, cooking Sunday dinners, doing hair for friends, praying in church. Instead, she's remembered through House Bill 1953, through a $10 million settlement, through annual vigils where her community says her name. She was a descendant of William K. Donegan, lynched in 1908. 116 years later, she died by violence in the same city, in the same hospital. 62 seconds, the time it takes to brew a cup of coffee, to scroll through social media, to walk from your car to your front door. 62 seconds from safety to terror. 62 seconds from I rebuke you in the name of Jesus to 3 gunshots echoing through a quiet kitchen. 62 seconds from a frightened woman seeking protection to a murder victim bleeding out on her own floor. That's all the time it took for Sean Grayson to destroy a family, end a life, and prove that sometimes the most dangerous thing a black woman in crisis can do is call the police for help. Sonya called for help. She deserved help. She received bullets instead. Her death changed Illinois law. Her name protects others now, even though she couldn't be protected herself. Rest in peace, Sonya Linai Wilburn Massey. Your story isn't over.